Rate cuts. People that want to buy houses. Jerome Powell comes out, cuts the rates in half. Everybody's waiting, saying, oh my God, this is great. We're going to be able to get a mortgage that's going to be lower, numbers going to be lower. And then rate cuts were supposed to push mortgage rates lower, but the opposite happened. Despite the Federal Reserve rate cut on the 18th, rates have increased, with 30-year fixed rates going from 6.165 to 6.62. Jerome Powell's decision hasn't brought the anticipated relief for homebuyers who were hoping for a different number. The rise in mortgage rates mirrors increases in the 10-year Treasury yield, which reflects investors' optimism about the economy. Tom, what is going on with this?
So you would think that as soon as the Fed lowers interest rates, you would have all the banks and the mortgage providers out there lower their interest rates as well. Well, they did initially, and there were some 5.875, 6.0s out there, 6 and an 8. They did for a moment. But what has happened is the demand for mortgages is still at near all-time lows. So when the banks give you a mortgage, they're making a profit on the difference between what they get the money and what they give you the money for. Their difference is profit. Like I buy a bag of apples from a farmer, I mark it up, I sell it to you. The banks do that with money. That's how they do it. They sell us money for the price of interest. And what has happened is the demand for mortgages is low, so there is no need for the banks to compete with each other by lowering rates, and the banks are trying to make more of a profit. And the other side of it is we still haven't had enough supply in the market by enough houses on the market that people want to purchase. And one of those is directly related to Florida, because the cost of homeownership has gone up this year again with insurance cost and property taxes, because the value of the homes are up. And so when you bought a home, your property tax was higher than the last guy. All of that is combined that there's still low demand from buyers in the market. And so the banks have no desire to compete with each other on service and price of the mortgage. And they want to make as much as they can on the mortgages they can place today. That's what's going on.
Got it. So go ahead, Adam.
Yeah, I mean, Pat asked a great question. You would think that when you cut rates, that mortgage rates would go down. Well, alas, it didn't work that way. There's something weird going on in the housing market right there. We covered this last week. What was it? It was the lowest amount of transactions in 30 years.
Yeah. Correct.
30 years.
All-time low demand for mortgages because it takes a mortgage to finish a transaction.
And, I always say that there's the big three expenses when you buy a house. It's not just your mortgage. You have to pay taxes, you have to pay the insurance, and then you have to pay for the maintenance. And people basically underestimate what that costs. But basically the cracks are starting to happen in the facade of buying the house. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't buy a house, and I'm not saying that buying real estate is not a good investment. Obviously, investing in the stock market is literally a better position, double the amount. But there's three things that are happening. There's triple whammy right now. There's high prices. It's the highest the houses have ever been. What's the average price of a house right now? 4.5, something like that.
430 or something.
Okay, it's basically the highest mortgage rates we've seen in how many decades. And then the third thing is that this is basically what's happening, especially in the middle of a hurricane. The insurance situation is becoming untenable. Right? I mean, how many insurance companies are leaving California? We talked about that. Geico,
and
what's
Florida,
going on.
and Gulf
Florida.
states.
So people are doing the math. They're like, yeah, I do want to buy a house. Of course, that's great. But when I do all the math, something's not adding up. So we're going to see where we go from here. Hopefully there's going to be a correction and it becomes more affordable, because the real estate market is what makes the economy tick. I mean, what percentage of people actually buy houses? I think 2/3 of people actually have a mortgage, own their home, 1/3 rent, but that's shifting dramatically now.
Supply of houses at affordable prices will bring the buyers in, and then the whole market moves. Supply of houses at affordable prices.
But how does supply happen? You have to lower your price if you're the seller, right?
Or there's more houses on the market. And if you take a look at the ETFs, exchange traded funds that cover Lanier, Toll Brothers, the big builders, look at those things. They have been on a tear for the last 2 years. Why? They're building as many houses as they can, but where are they building them? Outside of the big city areas, whereas cities, city sprawl, urban sprawl, it's all of those residential communities building farther and farther from the cities. And some cities have great programs. Miami does, where downtown in the cities, there's a lot of buildings that have been renovated over the years that make a lot more condos that are at somewhat affordable prices. But, that's single people.
Ultimately, we're saying one thing, Vinny.
Don't worry.
Now's not the time to buy your house.
Well, but here's my question, Tom. Trump wins. God willing, Trump wins. How long would it take for his presidency to affect this to lower?
I don't.
Well,
It doesn't help at all?
The presidency and who's head of the Treasury isn't really going to have a big effect because Powell has spoken and people have felt, including me, that he didn't have to do that 50-point cut. It could have been a 25-25. The jobs number that just came in was very, very good. Spoiler alert, we're waiting for the government to release the adjustment, which will happen on November 6th. So right now, when Trump gets in, he's going to be working to affect change for the family so it can make it more affordable. But right now, remember, he's got to get inaugurated and he's got to get a Secretary of Treasury and he's got to get his programs in, which is going to be around the 1st of March.
There was breaking news from Wall Street Journal, and they just had the inflation numbers just come in. Inflation slowed again in September. According to a CPI report, we're now at 2.4% currently inflation. So that rate cut that he did, half a basis point, seems to be working out well. Now they're considering another rate cut towards the end of the year.
Maybe.
You're saying maybe. Rob, pull up this.
Maybe not. The jobs reports have come back.
Watch this here. Homeownership statistics by states. Okay. Before you go down, the national average for homeownership is roughly 65%. Okay.
Yeah, 2/3.
But what state do you think is the lowest in homeownership?
Ooh.
Which state has the
Lowest.
I would maybe guess California.
That's third.
Really? New York?
Second.
Illinois?
No.
I'm just going with Democratic states where you can't afford anything.
Think about it. You should be able to get this.
So I guess the top three, just I'm missing number one.
It's
California,
a weird
New York,
state.
Massachusetts?
No.
Portland.
No.
Hawaii.
But it's like not a state, but it is a state.
Is that Hawaii?
DC.
DC.
Oh, DC.
So,
yeah.
and by the way, which one do you think is the highest? 79%.
In DC, you mean?
Delaware. Then it's Maine. Go down.
Yeah.
This is by state. Go lower, little lower. That's the national average, 65.9%. Okay. Go lower, lower by the states. Keep going, Rob. Keep going. Right there. Look at this. Alabama 74, Alaska 63. You see California right there, 55.3. You see Delaware highest, 79.1. DC lowest, only 43.9. Florida 68, above national average. Hawaii 61. Indiana 74. Iowa 75. Keep going. Look at Maine 78.8. Keep going. New York 54.3. Okay, keep going. Vermont 75.3.
So, Pat, how would you basically add this up? Because for
Look
me,
at West Virginia, 75%
yeah,
West
because
Virginia.
it comes down to one
And
thing.
people like to pick on them as a little second-rate state and all this, but look at that. You know, the people
ask
are
the
able to
reason
do
why,
it.
though.
Texas. Look at Texas. Texas is lower than national average, 63.3.
But it comes down to one thing. This comes down to affordability. You can go to West Virginia and buy a house for $100,000. Good luck buying anything for less than $1 million in New York City or California. Good luck. So it's an affordability thing. How do you basically thread all these numbers? What's the storyline?
If you're suggesting Vinny move to West Virginia, I don't see it.
I'm not going.
I just don't see it.
I'm not going to zoom into these. No.
I mean,
it is. Look at DC. DC is what? But most people who live in DC don't know if they're going to live there forever. So they'd rather rent. So the climate is a little bit of, if you're a politician, you're renting. Yeah. You're not buying, right? You go, you rent, you come back, whatever. Yeah. If you're living in California or New York, you just can't afford it.
Can't afford it.
So you can't afford it.
Affordability.
And then Delaware, Maine, maybe people can afford it there more than the other places. But it's interesting statistics when you look at what state has the most
And then
owners.
you presented one interesting stat. You said in D.C., I think, is it 7 out of 10 counties in D.C. are the most expensive counties to live in? What was the stat that you put out
I don't know what it was, but it was a very high, expensive too. And by the way, they have the biggest disparity of income.
Yeah.
Highest income earners in America live in D.C., but also the lowest percentage of income earners live in D.C. Yeah. The disparity between the two and crime, how it is, it's unfortunate.
If you want to know why we have a $34 trillion deficit, debt, just look right at D.C.
Election night. We're putting the biggest party nationwide at a new property we just bought. If you haven't yet bought your tickets, get your tickets and come down. I wish I could tell you all the surprises we got that night. We're going to do grand opening. We're going to do the whole, what do you call it when it's the
shovel?
The shovel with the breaking ground.
Breaking ground.
We're gonna reveal and show stuff we've never shown before, especially to some of you guys that want to be super VIPs. To the super VIPs that want to network with other super VIPs, we're going to treat you royally that night, okay? Rob, just play the clip on what's going to be happening on election night for you to come and join us. Play this clip from the new building that we just got a week and a half ago. Yep. I'm there every day. Dylan yesterday going 27 miles an hour in his car, having a blast. But go ahead, Rob, play the clip.
Okay, I got a big announcement to make, and the good news is you're the first to know, and you'll be the first to be invited. So the property I'm on right now, we've been working on buying this property for the last 3 years. It's one of its last kind in America. Why? It's on 11 acres. It's got 2 hangars. It's on an airport. Upgrades of $7 million made here. That's going to be the new headquarters of Valuetainment Media, by David Consulting, the podcast, the whole 9. And what we wanted to do in a special way that you're going to hear about this 2 days before I announce it publicly on the PBD podcast, we want to find a way to celebrate this as a new headquarters with inviting you to an event on November 5th, which is election night. A lot of different things people will be talking about, business owners. What's going to happen if it goes this way? What's going to happen if it goes that way? So imagine 2,000 people being here. Let me show you around. Some of you will have a private meeting with me. That's the elite. That's going to be a few of you. Some will get a private tour of the entire office from us. There's a hangar in the back. So you come up here. Imagine there's going to be a couple major tents, 40 feet by 100 feet, where some of the people that are buying general tickets will be there. But over here inside the hangar is where the podcast will be held. This entire thing will be open like it is right now. Inside of it, myself, the PBD podcast crew, some of the super VIPs will be invited to go upstairs in a section that we have that's got a bar, a restaurant, food, kitchen. You're eating, you're watching it from all the way up there while we're doing the podcast down here in the hangar. So imagine in this room, there's 1,000 people, right? While we're going through this whole thing. Conversation, it's going to be from 6 p.m. is when it starts, all the way up to 2 o'clock in the morning. Who knows? Maybe we'll go 3, 4 o'clock in the morning because a lot of things that's going to be going on. And by the way, do you know why we're not cutting this? We're on an airport. These are planes. We have to hear because right here is the airport. And FYI, Messi plays right there at that stadium right behind us. So you got 48 hours before I announce this publicly. There's 5 ticket tiers that you can purchase. Each one's got more things to offer. But even locally, there's general tickets to buy for just $75. Bring your wife, bring your husband, bring your family, bring your friends. There's one caveat after you buy the ticket. When you buy the ticket and you come on November 5th, you have to wear Future Looks Bright gear. I'm talking Future Looks Bright hat, a shirt, doesn't matter. You're gonna have to show I got some kind of Future Looks Bright gear because we want everybody here to spread the message and the energy of optimism around the world, back to their states, wherever you're going to be. So November 5th, click on the link above or below, get registered. And if you're watching this saying, well, Pat, I like to travel private. Can I bring my private jet here? 5 of you guys will be after you buy your ticket. Then you can ask us, and that's only available to the tickets at the highest level possible to bring your jet and park it here. So having said that, get your tickets, and I cannot wait to see you November 5th, 6 p.m. at our new headquarters in Fort Lauderdale. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye, bye-bye.
It's going to be freaking awesome.
It's gonna
I'm
be
going.
Crazy. Yeah.
I'm going.
And by the way, I wish I could say all the guests that are going to be there. I don't want to say it because part of it is also suspense, surprise. But there's going to be you're going to be. What are you doing here? Yeah. Oh my God, look at this. Let me take a picture with it. It's going to be wild. Bring your family, bring your friends. We're going to have a good time. Anyway, so we are 25 days away from that day. I cannot wait.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.